Hey guys, it's Delora Dabbles, and we are back with the Incense Magick book that I didn't get to, so you guys get 2 videos today. Enjoy it. I'm not the best at being consistent. So, all right. Table of contents. Again, just like his other book, we have the subheadings here in the table of contents. So it's like a table of contents, like index mix, where you can find everything you ever wanted to know about what's in this book, key concept wise. And if any of these concepts intrigue you, you should really get this book for yourself. There are some redundancies between this book and his other book, clearly, because he does not expect you to buy both. I am extremely eccentric, so I bought both. But between watching this video and the previous video, you might decide that only one book is going to suit your purpose, right? That's important. You should choose which book is going to best suit your purpose. You don't want to just go out and buy all the things, right? And then end up like me and you've got like 200 books you've never read. Cries. Anyway, yeah, so which one are we going to talk about first? Yes, so in chapter 2 of part 1, he talks about the despised sense. And in the Western world, if you smell somebody, it's not usually a good thing, right? So like if someone says, ugh, I can smell you, that's a bad thing, right? Now, if someone's like, oh, what perfume are you wearing? Then you know you smell good. But for the most part, a nice sterile environment is going to smell like nothing, or it's going to smell like bleach, right? Like you never really think something's clean unless it smells like nothing. But here's the thing, we are human beings. We smell, we emit smells everywhere. The world around us emits smells everywhere. You walk through the forest, right? You're just walking through the forest. You're going to smell dirt. You're going to smell if there's some really, really nice flowers on the trail. You're going to smell that. Eventually, you're going to smell rotting fur because things die, right, in the forest. You're going to smell that, right? So you're going to get that weird smell of death every now and then while you're walking through the forest. But in the West, we don't want to smell the dirt. We don't want to smell death. We only want to smell the flowers, right? And that's an issue, right? You're not practicing that. You're not giving that sense the credit that it needs to help you and to understand, right? Like if you talk to people, I went to Yellowstone. If you talk to people, they're like, oh yeah, I smelled a bear and I got the fuck out of there. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, you can smell bears. You can smell a bear? Yes, you can smell a bear. But if you spend all of your time, right, in the cities where all you're smelling is, like city smells and car exhaust, right? You're not going to know what a bear smells like, right? But like it's really crazy to me how people can smell different things. Like now that I am gluten intolerant and I can't smell bread, like I can't eat bread, boy can I smell bread. Okay, like I will be walking around in Montrose, like back whenever I lived in Houston, and I'd be like, bread, there's bread, where's the bread? And it's just some guy eating a sandwich. And I'm like, I'm crazy, right? Now down here in Mobile, a lot of times you're like, someone's smoking pot, right? And you can tell how good the pot they're smoking is based on the smell. So, like, if somebody's smoking skunk, you're like, ugh, someone's smoking skunk. But if you smell that good dro, you're like, ooh, where's that coming? Hey, you in the corner there. Want to be friends? Right? Yeah, your smell is very important. But in the West, we really don't give our sense of smell the respect it deserves. Right? And that whole chapter is about that, right? I love anything tactile and sensey, right? Like, I love clicking noises, drives my mother crazy, but I love clicking noises. I love weird, strange sounds. It's like what I really love about international music is that they'll throw crazy sounds into it. Like Rammstein. Oh my god, they have some really crazy sounds mixed into their music, especially their earlier stuff. I digress. I love everything. Like, I can walk through the forest and I'm like, yeah, that's rotting fur. I can smell the difference between specifically a rat. And that's mainly because, I grew up in a low-income family, right? My parents and everything. There's rats. Not in our house, but like in the attic. Sometimes rats will die in the walls and you're like, yep, that's a rat. So I can smell the difference between a dead rat and just something else that's dead, because there's roadkill and stuff. I've had to scrape some pets off the road. So yeah, the smell of death, I guess, just doesn't bother me as much. And I know the different smells of different dead animals because of where I live. And it's sad to me that some people don't know the difference. Like, I'll go somewhere and I'll be like, ugh, there's a dead rat somewhere. They're like, yeah, something definitely smells awful. And I'm like, yeah, it's a dead rat. And they don't believe me, right? And I'm like, if you would just smell dead things, sir, we wouldn't be having this problem. But that's a joke. Yeah, it's very interesting that depending on where you're from, different smells mean different things. Also, that's why it's important to meditate with your incense, which he talks about here. Yeah, the despised scent. I think that really does set a big tone for this book, because like he says, it's very difficult to describe smells. A lot of times people describe smells in terms of taste, right? So like, I'm going to go through and show you guys different resins that I have and how they smell. And you're going to notice that the only vocabulary I have for these things in the English language are going to be flavors and tastes. And that is a shortcoming on our part linguistically. Other cultures have language to describe smells in detail the way we describe taste. So our very language is going to inhibit us, because on a deep cultural level, as the English language developed, right, in medieval times, it makes sense. We always hear about the bubonic plague, and people thought putting potpourri in their mask would keep them from getting the Black Death, because they didn't understand how airborne diseases or flea bites worked, right? So like, if you smell something lovely, it's not going to make you sick, but if you smell something like death, you're going to get sick. Like breathing in the smell of death is like breathing in the essence of death. And so there's not words for smells, specific smells. It's crazy. And that's what I love about anthropology, but I digress. Back to the book at hand. There are a couple of techniques he talks about here. One of them is called air mixing. And air mixing is basically like, I think the example he used in the book specifically was like, if you're calling in the corners or you're doing directional work with the magical directions and everything, you're going to put an incense, corresponding to each direction on each of their altars. And as you do your rotations, walking clockwise, starting from the east, like we do, right? You're going to rotate and you're going to twirl that smell in the air with the movement of your body, right? And I could talk about like the magical like resonance of that all day long, but you probably got your own shivers and your own epiphany from that yourself. So I'll just let you sit with your own epiphanies. So the other one that he talks about is chaining. This is a much more Asian style technique. You're going to get some fine ash. If you're interested in doing that, you're going to get some fine ash, right? And you're going to, tap it and do your thing inside your censer, not sand. Don't think that you can get away with using sand. Sand is not the same as ash, right? And it needs to be very fine ash so that the air can move up and through and around in the ash. That's why you use ash, because air can move through it. Air cannot move through sand, right? And if you're using glass, a glass censer and you fill it with sand and put something hot in it, it might explode. So be aware of that. You can chain with joss sticks. It works the best if you're going to use sticks. It works the best with joss sticks. Again, joss sticks are pure incense. There is not any wood inside of this keeping it together. This whole stick is the incense. The incense is the stick. It is a joss stick. What you're going to do is you're going to lay them like so. You're going to cross them. You're going to light one end, and it's going to burn all the way down. And once it hits this incense, this incense is going to light this incense, right? So you're going to want to use two different kinds of incense, right? Why would this be important in ritual? Well, let's say at the beginning of your ritual, you are calling on one planetary power, right? So you need to burn this kind of incense. And let's say during the second half of your ritual, you're calling on a different planetary power. So you're going to burn this incense. But you don't want to stop your ritual motions. Maybe you're doing ecstatic dance. Maybe you are seething, right? You're not going to be able to get up from that to change your incense, right? So that's where chaining comes in handy. And again, you're going to want to do this on top of ash because you don't want to just burn things on a table, but this, whatever this hits, it's going to cool, right? So if you just put this on a book, right, where that incense is touching the book, that incense is not going to burn, right? It's the same for if you put it on wood. It's the same for if you put it on anything other than fluffy ash that's going to let the air move under the incense, right? That's why you use ash. Okay, cool. So you're going to maybe even use a long tray so that you can chain your incenses like this. And you can do infinite chains. You don't just have to do two, right? And you can do different sizes. So you might chain, because this is what I love about joss sticks. You can break them into tiny little pieces and still burn them. You might have your intro ritual. Boom. Your intro smell to kind of get you in the mood. And then boom, your planetary power smells. All chained along, right? And so you're going to end up getting like a bit of like a zigzag throughout your little thing. And chaining does sound like it has some really like infinite possibilities when it comes to ritual, right? Those are the two probably biggest takeaways that I got from this book, but you're probably going to get a lot more takeaways from that. This book is absolutely massive. And I really like how he talks about adapting things, which is why I put the bookmark here, adapting things to Western magic, right? Because this also keeps you from culturally appropriating things that you don't understand as well, which is easy to do whenever we're talking about any kind of international research on a topic, right? And so I really do appreciate this whole section that he has in here because I feel like I'm not being rude when I'm able to take a bare bones concept, right? And not just mimic or because I'm going to mimic it very badly because I don't have the cultural context, right? It seems like a very thoughtful way of doing things is just to be like, wow, that's an interesting concept. They chain incenses so that they don't have to get up during the ritual to change the scent in the room for the ritual. And this book, he really does focus on the power of smell in ritual and to magic. And I will say our olfactory sense is, psychologists are like, that's our most powerful brain thing. Because I have PTSD, all of the triggers that I have had that really took me out of space and time. I had a very abusive boyfriend. I walk across campus and somebody must have used the same body wash that he used to use, something, but that smell fucking hit me, right? This is like a year later. I'm not in Mobile. I am in Houston. I am on a college campus. I am running to the library to print something off before a class. but that smell hits me and I turn around and I start running to my dorm because I have to get the dishes done before this guy comes home and beats my ass for not having the dishes done. That is the power of smell. I didn't make it all the way to my dorm room before I realized I was fucking flashbacking. I didn't know for years that that's what a flashback was. I made it from the library to the fountain at UH and was like, what the fuck am I doing? And I mean, like, I felt, of course, a lot of shame, like, oh, I'm losing my mind, like, right? But that's how powerful the sense of smell is, right? And you know, a lot of times you smell something and you get taken back to the past. I mean, PTSD flashbacks are an extreme example, right? But that's how powerful smell is. And, you know, I see a lot of people talking about witchcraft all the time, and I haven't heard anyone talk about smell in a while. So hopefully this can get out there and people can start incorporating these things. And again, Carl Neal on YouTube. His writer name is Carl F Neal. Where is it? Where's his name on here? Haha. Carl F Neal, right? But on YouTube, he's just Carl Neal. And if you are confused by anything in his books, he has videos where he shows you exactly how to do these different techniques, how to pack ash. There's also this really cool thing you can do called a volcano, and it comes from Japan, I believe. But basically, you're going to take that white ash, you're going to put a hot coal into the ash, right? You're going to dig a little hole, put your coal in, build it up, make a little smoke chimney down to the coal. Then you're going to put a mica plate on top of that. Then you're going to put your really delicate smells and incenses and resins on that mica plate. Yes. And he shows you how to do that too, I believe. That video is still up there. Anyway, I digress. I hope you guys enjoyed this. The possibilities of incense are endless in your magical practice, your healing practice, everything. Please take a look at these things. And if you enjoyed knowing more about incense, please hit like and subscribe. Go find Carl Neal on YouTube. He has way better stuff on incense. He's been doing this a hell of a lot longer than I have. So more technical stuff, definitely go to his YouTube channel, Carl Neal. I'll try to put it in the description box. That's what it's called. And hit like and subscribe on this video if you've been enjoying me. And until next time, happy dabbling and bye-bye.